What is up, my fellow net dwellers? Couch Command here, the teddy bear who teaches you how to mod different games. Today we're looking at a game I have modded 2 to 3 times in the past, I think, at this point. This is Dark Souls 3, attained via Steam. I've been getting a lot of comments about people having some issues as far as my instruction videos go, saying they can't get the game to launch, it's erroring, it's bombing, so on and so forth. So I figured I would go ahead and jump back into it, see what I can figure out. Anyways, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So the problem people are running into is not necessarily what they think it is. It's not necessarily that all the mods are failing per se. It's just none of the mods are compatible with the modern version of the game. For some reason, back in 2022, around February time, a lot of people stopped updating the mods for the game. So what happened was we've had more releases from the game developers since then, patching the game more, and these essentially broke all those mods that haven't been upgraded. And you can't really go into the properties and just downgrade the game like you used to in the past. You go into properties here, and we go down to the betas. We can't downgrade here. We can't downgrade from any of these locations. And that's basically the issue we're running into, is most mods are compatible 15 or 14 or earlier, and we're stuck using 15.2. Anyways, let's go ahead and download the game real quick. That way you can see I'm starting from scratch, and I'll show you how to downgrade this thing. All right, now that we've got this installed, let's go ahead and actually show you what the current version is. It should be 15.2, but just to confirm, I'm going to show you the visibles, just that way we kind of have a comparison point. You can see where we're at, all that stuff. So let's see what we got here. And yeah, so if we're looking up in the top left, we got our current version. We're 1.15.2 with regulation version 1.35. On the bright side, somebody created this for speed modding, which is Speed Souls, which talks you through how to downgrade it using the Steam's console. Just the ability to run a special command to open the console mode for it. Then we're going to use some commands here as far as downloading old depots, all that stuff. So once we're in the console, down on bottom, we got the command line there. And they provide you that nice formatting out on Speed Souls to be able to use it. You notice download repo, got 374320. That is the game ID. So the next piece is the actual identifier for the type of game. That's the base game versus DLC versus whatever. You notice DLC 1, 2 in game here. Now, for you that have DLC, you're going to have to make sure you run the game one, the DLC one, and the DLC two separately. You gotta run them all. And I'm actually mistaken right now. I originally was thinking I could use 14.4 on this, and I'm going to run 14.4, talk about it, all that stuff throughout most of this. But we actually need 15 for Cinders. But you still use the same setup. You download Depot, and this front piece is going to be the same throughout. The next piece is the difference in between the base game, DLC, and DLC 1. Base game is the Dark Souls 321. DLC is 690, and the other one is 971. Now, if you look at that table that we had there, let me go ahead and fix this. There we go. Put this over in the right spot. Now, if you're looking at this table, base game's all that first column, DLC, and DLC 2. So we copy the first group here, which is for 14. Again, if you are doing Cinders, you need 15. And it's going to start downloading the depot. These all download in the background. You're not going to get active statuses showing it's downloading. It just throws that up there. You won't see anything else until it's actually done. Unless you're browsing around Steam, in which case every time you click through a new web window, it loads something else because there's the Steam API, right? Anyway, so we're going to get DLC 1 now. So we keep the first part of the string, the 374320. We're going to delete the rest of it. And now we're going to go ahead and grab the 506970 for DLC 1. Then we're going to grab our unique manifest identifier, which is going to be that 244. Again, this I'm downloading currently is for 14. Need 15. Hit enter. Now we got that one queued for downloading. And we move on to the next one, which is DLC 2, which is, I think, just changing out for 971, right? Yep, 971. So let's go ahead and go download this one. And get this and paste it in real quick. I already had it for some reason. Anyways, go ahead and grab the manifest version and go ahead and paste that in. And hit enter. Now, all three games are queued up and downloading, but you'll notice that top game is 19 gigabytes. Yeah, full game, pretty large. Second one's 2 gigabytes, third one's 3 gigabytes. So they take a while to download. It's going to take a little bit. So anyways, I'm going to do a speed jump now. But real quick to address the fact I downloaded the wrong ones originally. You need the 15 versions. So it's not going to be these ones. It's actually going to be these three right here. Those bottom three depots are the ones you're actually going to need. So make sure you actually get the proper versions for your game you're running. Mod Engine was nice. It popped up something to tell me I had the wrong ones. Told me I need 15, not 14. So make sure you are actually checking to see what version you need for the mods. Anyways, let's go ahead and shift back to finishing the download and how to migrate the folder paths. Once the downloads are complete, you'll notice right there where it says depot downloaded complete, you're going to be able to find the exact file location for each of those. So we're going to have the base game, DLC 1, DLC 2 for me. You might only need DLC 1. You might only need the game. It all depends on what you've got. But if you are going to be running the DLC, make sure you get that one. So now we're going to go out and we're actually going to get the base folder path for Dark Souls by just manage browse local files. Pretty quick and easy to do. And then we're going to be needing to open file explorers to those temp paths we got. So let me switch back to console. You see those temp paths? We're going to open File Explorer and navigate to each of those items. File Explorer is as simple as searching File Explorer. Pretty easy to get it back open. You copy the file path. Make sure you don't catch those quotes. Quotes will cause it not to be able to find the right location. You paste it in. Now we've got that depot up. We're going to do it for all the other ones because the DLCs, essentially all three of those have to be combined to get the game to work for you for the DLC. So make sure you're getting all the files copied over if you're going to do the DLCs. Again, otherwise you're just going to have issues. And each one of these will be the same style. You're going to have the game folder be the opening location, but you're not going to be replacing the files with the DLC. They should just copy in without needing replaced. The only exception is the base game. Yep, snags and parameters. Let's delete that. The only difference is for the base game, if you actually tried to copy the base game over the top of the Dark Souls one, you'd have issues. So just delete the original Dark Souls game or back it up elsewhere so you don't have to reinstall it. Either way, I'm deleting it. It's gone. Now we want the base game here, which is 37421, and we're just going to copy it over. You'll notice this is the largest one. We're copying across 19 gigabytes. Now once that's done copying, I'm going to go ahead and move the DLC across as well. So I'm done with this one. I can go ahead and close that out. Now we're going to go to DLC 1 and 2, and we're going to just do the same thing. Click and drag that game file over. Then we go on to the next one. Same deal. Click and drag over. Perfect. Now we have successfully downgraded the version of the game. Now that we've got everything copied across, we need to make it so the game won't update because we want to stay at our current version. So if we go into properties and updates, we're going to change this to only when the game's running and never allow in the background. So it won't try to run the updates outside of that. Now I run the game here, but I shouldn't have. So there is another step that some people will have to do, but I will show you that after, just once this is validated. I completely forgot the order of operations a little bit. On the bright side, in the event you do what I did and you ran the game before you had actually done the next step, it'll go ahead and send a message that says your save version is incorrect to the game version. And you'll have to go ahead and do this next step anyways. You'll notice I don't have to do that. That's because I ran several test cases before this, and I ended up already having those files cleared, so no issues. So notice 1.14 up above. And I'm clearing out my saves purely just because you can't play higher save versions on the older games. So I want to make sure I have a new version If things went well, I should be able to actually have the whole game load up, be able to pick the character through, and see the startup screen. So we pick a random name here. I don't really care. So let's just go with don't care. Go ahead and finalize my creation. He's good to go. If things worked well, we should actually get to the location outside the Cemetery of Ash. It's going to be off over in the Tombstone area. Voila. So we are successfully downgraded to 1.1.4. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you how to clear out the saves if that is an issue for you. So we're going to quit out of the game. Then I need to close out of this one because for some reason it doesn't give me the whole quit game. It was quit title. Go ahead and leave the game. And now we're going to go to our app data to actually delete the save file so it actually can correctly run the game. Basically, if you have saves too modern, it won't work. So you use %appdata%, go into Dark Souls 3, and we're going to delete the DS3000 SL2. That guy right there is your dark saves, and you need to clear that out for it to properly function once you do the downgrade. Do not, you're going to get an error pop up. It won't let you continue. It'll tell you have to clear the saves. It doesn't support them. And on the bright side is this tutorial for downpatching has all the steps here. Make sure you're following it. It's really useful. You can ignore the manifest piece, but everything else on here is going to be very helpful for you for downgrading. And you can find it down in my description like I always do. Description for this, description for 7-zip, all that stuff is right there. Now let's go ahead and install Cinder here. So I'm going to get the local files open. Then we're going to go ahead and snag Cinders from online. Cinders is basically a full game modification. It is very, very different than the base Dark Souls, so it's very easy to tell if we successfully mod Cinders. One, it'll tell us right off the start. And the thing to check here is compatibility. Won't work 15.1 or higher. So you just can't run this on any of the modern versions of the game. That's where people are running into issues, right? This is why you're getting crashes. This is why you're getting failures. It does not work on the recent version. They provide an executable for you to actually go out and get the latest one, but I'm going to go ahead and just say that we've already done that using the downgrader instead. Also, 7-zip is always in my description, so where it says make sure you have 7-zip, don't worry about that. If you don't have it yet, go through my description, snag 7-zip. You can also go out and Google it yourself. We're essentially going to just move all of the files for Cinder into my game directory. We need to make sure we have the main, the models, Cinder setup. I don't have the models, I got the rest, so let's go ahead and download this one real quick. And then we are good to go ahead and move to the next step. So after a while, we finally have Cinders downloaded. 5.8 gigabytes at a slowed down connection through Mod Nexus takes forever, but it eventually finally goes through. So now we're going to go ahead and go back to our downloads. So we need our downloads first. That's where the Cinder setup, the Cinder main, and the Cinder models are. So downloads, see them all right there. Now all we're going to do is open these up, and we're going to be moving them into our game file. So let's go ahead and get my game back up. Manage browse. I don't know why I closed out of it originally, but apparently I did in between the steps. Anyway, so we got our Dark Souls 3 open here. We go into game. We go to our downloads. Each of these, we're just going to go inside, grab the item, and drag it into our game folder. So you don't need to go any deeper into them. You just click and grab, drag it over, and you're good to go. Same with this one. Click and drag over. And then the same with the last one. For the setup, we're just going to click and drag everything inside the setup over into the main. And voila! Once this is done finally transferring all the files, we are actually good to go ahead and validate that we can now run Cinder. And if you have any questions, there is a README with instructions on how to do this. Pretty simple and straightforward. Anyways, let's go ahead and jump forward to kicking the game off after we finish this copy. And now right now, you get to see what happens when you do not have the correct version. You'll notice my Dark Souls engine, hey, this isn't the right version. This is for version 15, you have 14. Twice that I screwed up, installed the wrong version. It gets very naggy throughout this whole process of basically, hey, you need to make sure you have the right version. You need to make sure you have the right version, otherwise it just won't cooperate. So we can click through this real quick. It's gonna basically just do a failure to launch. Boom, failed, exited. Running it again now with me upgrading to the right version. You'll notice now that when I actually click play, we don't get that additional console prop from Mod Engine. It just goes ahead and kicks right through. We got a nice white screen here that's going to stay a little longer than I would like, but essentially that's just the Bungie background and mod engine doing their thing. If we successfully kick through, we'll have Cinders display on that main screen, you know, the one when we get through. So here's Bandai Namco. We're going to skip through this. From Software, skip. And right down there, you'll notice Cinders 2.15. So we successfully got Cinders on it. Let's go ahead and do a new game and launch it. We don't care about the class, but basically the whole goal is we're not going to start in the cemetery. You notice we have this guy who's called the Deprived, which was not our default before. We defaulted to night. So let's go ahead and switch it back to the night and finalize creation. And we should be either in the cemetery and it look very different, or we should be somewhere else entirely. I'm not sure. We're somewhere else entirely. We're over in the Firelink Shrine, where I remember Cinders being a lot more flamey. It's been a while. I don't remember a lot of this. Okay. Whatever. I'm not quite sure. As I said, it's been a minute since I played Cinder. Well, it's been about a year to 2 years since I played Cinder, so I'm not quite sure what I need to do here. As far as getting out goes, I think those are just options. Maybe that's just the way they do their config. Oh, begin journey. See what happens. Yeah, do it. I am sure. Hey, we're out. I got a Dark Sun, whatever that is. Let's go ahead and see. I swear they swap out the bosses for Cinder. So let's go try to get down to the Ashen Cemetery. Also, I'm completely absent-minded on what my controls are. I'm trying to figure it out. I think I've got down that right trigger is attack, and I believe X is my potion. Yeah, I mean, it's different than the normal game since I'm here, but I don't know. I swear there was fire. I remember Cinders having fire. Anyways, let's see what happens when I make my way down to the boss. So the boss is down there with his glaive, but I don't know if I can access him. Oop. No. Can't get the door open. Okay. Well, regardless, I'd say this is a very different startup. So I think I've successfully modded the game at this point. This kind of gives you an idea. Basically, what you're going to have to do is more or less downgrade the game to the version for the mod you want to run, be able to actually launch it then, and you'll be fine to go. But you will have to downgrade to be able to use mods still. Just not going to have many that are compatible with modern game. Anyways, this was Couch Command. You guys all have a good night, a great tomorrow, and an amazing rest of the week. I'll see you next time.